We can just, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we can just record and just sort of go from where it feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round these fuzzy boys, Barky and Fluff, I didn't come up with a whole parody song. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sing the last chorus for us.
I think Leo just did.
I'm not singing.
No.
Why?
I'm not a singer.
So, I want to hear it. Well, that's disappointing. Sleep in heavenly peace.
Nice.
Welcome, everyone,
Hello.
to our Christmas special features podcast as we fight with the with Leo and Wesley in the living room.
That's right. This is the
This is dog wrestling.
Dogcast.
Our dogs.
Yes.
I decided to invite a very special guest on this episode, as it is the Christmas episode. I've invited my wonderful fiancé, Gwendolyn, and these are our dogs, Leo and Wesley. They should calm down in a few minutes, at least we hope.
Nice.
But I've invited my wonderful fiancée, Gwendolyn, and why don't you introduce yourself, Gwendolyn?
Hi, I'm the fiance. And that's Leo.
Yes, and there will be much barking. I apologize for that in advance.
They're very nice dogs.
This may not be the most relaxing, most ASMR-like podcast.
Unless you like chaos.
That's
Yes.
right.
That just makes me think of, oh God, what's the name of that actor from SNL? The one who was on Barry?
Oh,
Well, there's a skit he did on SNL where he was like having people try to remember the names of people in their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is your maid you've had for 18 years. What was her name?
Right.
And at one point in that skit, the guy asks him, like, what do you want from all this? And he's like, in a word, chaos.
yeah, I remember
I was
that.
thinking that's
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader.
Oh,
Yeah. Bill Hader was one of my favorite SNL people of all time.
Yeah, Bill Hader's great.
Which is funny because I feel a special kinship with him because he had severe anxiety, and he still did all that. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like I have pretty bad anxiety, so being in performance art with anxiety, there's something connecting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of people in performance have anxiety, don't even realize. I know like Johnny Depp, for instance, has bad anxiety and doesn't like watching his films.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
I
common.
like it.
Johnny Depp and his anxiety.
Yeah.
I like Johnny Depp though. Johnny Depp has not been in any Christmas movies, as far as I can tell.
I don't think so.
You
You're right.
remember any Christmas movies he was in?
No, I'm thinking.
I guess you could argue that the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, what about Edward Scissorhands is like Christmas time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a Christmas
that's
movie.
true. Yeah, I think
That's
maybe
a-
that qualifies.
That's an incredibly saccharine Christmas movie, though.
Yeah, although for a saccharine movie, it has a lot of weird S&M imagery. The
Yeah,
black
it's
leather
very
suit.
sexual.
Yeah, but also I just think kind of scary. The scissors for hands thing is a little frightening. It always reminded me of that children's book that I used to get
Struwelpeter?
nightmares. Yeah, Struwelpeter.
Struwelpeter,
the German.
the Scissor Man.
Yeah, exactly. Beware the scissor man. He'll come and cut your thumbs off.
He's what I think about when I do my Ginga joke.
Yeah, exactly.
When I say that the name Ginga, but I do a joke where I say that my name is abbreviated. My contact information for one of my friends was abbreviated as Ginga because she has me in her phone as Ginger. And I say it sounds like a German fairy tale folklore villain, like, Ginga, beware, wash your toes or Ginga will come and bite them off.
Right.
Because Ginga is always watching you.
Yes. Speaking of fairy tales, don't you think that like in Christmas, Krampus is like another one?
Exactly.
And I love Krampus, the story of Krampus.
Yeah. No, it always the scarier things like the Grinch, always make the Christmas. If for some reason there's a dark side to Christmas, that always kind of adds to it, I think.
Yeah.
Krampus is great.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like a demon that shoves kids in a sack
Well,
and like whips them.
in like one of the Scandinavian countries.
Not
they have
because
the whole...
I am interested in that. Jesus.
No, you are.
I don't want anybody to think I'm some kind of freak. I don't want to hurt children. I just think it's funny and dark.
But bad children deserve it, don't they?
Bad children deserve to be hurt.
That's right. The coal.
Yeah, check that man's basement.
Yeah. I see Krampus every year with my nieces because, like,
Yeah.
instead of seeing Santa, we go see Krampus.
Nice.
So I'm excited to do that.
Is there a Krampus parade somewhere?
Not a parade, just like a picture.
Where?
Thing. In Mystic, Connecticut.
In Mystic, Connecticut,
Yeah.
there's a Krampus that you can. So it's like the Santa Claus
It's
thing.
like going to see Santa.
So you get like your
Yeah.
picture taken with
Yeah.
Krampus.
But there's some festival, some Christmas festival in some European country where they do have like a Krampus parade or
yeah.
something.
And they like bang really hard, like drums and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yes, on Krampusnacht.
Yeah, and the Krampuses like assault people and stuff.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think the guy on Dark Tourist went to that festival.
Yeah, probably.
Or something.
There was these two people who do a lot of travel videos named Kara and Nate, and they went to this Krampus thing, and they got assaulted by the Krampi.
The Krampi. Yeah,
I
what's
would
the
love to
plural
go
of
there.
Krampus? Krampi.
That would be a goal to go see that.
do
I think that'd
that.
be really fun. Yeah.
That sounds like an expression that like some random child has for their foreign grandfather. Like, this is my Ginga and this is my Krampi.
Sounds a little like cream pie.
Oh, let's not start talking about the Krampus having a cream pie. Good Lord. Why do we always branch into these things? Last time we were joking about Harry Potter porn. Now it's Krampus cream pies.
I bet that's a really big subject, though.
Krampus cream pies?
No.
Harry
Harry
Potter
Potter,
porn?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I remember in Bo Burnham's new special, he one of the things he says you can find on the internet in his internet song is pictures of all the colored pencil drawings of all the characters from Harry Potter fucking.
Jesus.
Wait, is Harry Potter a Christmas movie?
Oh yeah, that's a good
definitely
point. The
has
Harry Potter
some-
series
some
is
of that,
Christmas,
yeah.
but let's not get too much back. We spent a long time talking about Harry Potter in the last podcast.
Yeah.
But you like to rewatch Harry Potter at Christmas time, right?
Yeah, I do. I think anytime in the winter I like rewatching Harry Potter because, like, it's dark out. You don't really have anything to do. You could have a cuddly movie night. Harry Potter's the perfect, like, series to watch for those nights.
Who's your
Yeah.
favorite character on Harry Potter?
Good question.
I like Luna Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood? Yeah, she's great. I think I like, this is actually a different one. I like Draco Malfoy's mom
Oh yeah.
because I can, like, kind of relate to her, like, how she'll do anything to protect her son. And,
Yep.
like, even though she's on the bad side, she has, like,
But she
good tendencies. You
doesn't
know?
she also kind of come off as like an abuse victim though?
Kind of, yeah. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
it is, too.
But also, I find something like attractive about her. You know what I mean?
Well, the
Like,
actress is attractive.
The actress, yeah.
She passed away.
But so is the
Yeah,
actor
I
that
know,
played
that's
Draco
terrible,
Malfoy's
yeah.
dad.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was hot.
yeah.
In the same way that like Alan Rickman was hot as Snape.
Yeah.
You know, just like a British guy with like
I do
fake
love
hair.
Snape.
Yeah,
He was another
Snape's
good character,
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to like go towards the morally gray characters, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
See, I like Cho Chang because she has the most racist name.
Yeah.
I've wondered if that's like a real like name from anywhere in Asia or like China. Like I've never tried to look up if Cho Chang is like a real name.
No.
So it's probably unfair for me to be like judgy, but it is a little weird that she's like the only Asian character and her name is Cho Chang.
Well,
Yeah, but I mean, there are Asian names that are like that.
There are, but there's a lot of other like potentially questionable, possibly racial things you can draw from Harry Potter.
Sure.
You know, like the goblins at the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just there's some things there that are not all above board. That's all.
No, but I mean, of course, it is written by a white lady.
A white British woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And as we've discussed, like even Lord of the Rings has potentially underlying racial themes that we're not aware of.
It's funny because that actually reminds me when I was in junior high, I took a creative writing class, and that was when I read Lord of the Rings for the first time.
Yeah.
And I did a paper on it, and my teacher, who was black, afterwards kind of took me aside and said, I liked your paper, but you didn't say anything about the racial aspect of the story, and I had not thought about the racial aspect of the story, but then she pointed out to me how the Southrons and a lot of the characters from the eastern parts of the Middle Earth were suspiciously dark
guys.
and resembled like
Yeah.
Muslim or
Yeah.
and I thought I could see that but
There
of course
are definitely racial themes there.
Yeah.
But since I think J.R.R. Tolkien was trying to write like a fictional history for like the UK essentially. Obviously, there were going to be racial themes there because the history of the UK is racial.
Yeah.
I mean, the history of any country is racial.
Yeah.
But it does seem like that theme of like light versus dark. I'm sure that came basically from the idea that, you know, like you can't see things in the dark and it's scary, and the light feels safe. But like you could still argue ultimately there's racial themes there because, you know, the idea that darker skin is more dangerous or like lighter skin is safer, like, you know, the which is ridiculous, but I mean you could see how like
That's the way
ancient
people thought
thinking
about
might
these things.
yeah. Well, and some modern people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's almost Christmas. Although at the time of recording this, Thanksgiving has not yet passed. I have not yet released our last episode, which unfortunately I want to let our listeners and viewers know. Part of that episode got corrupted because the camera we were filming had some issues. So that last episode is not going to have a full recording, but hopefully this one will. Nice. But it's still almost Christmas despite not being Thanksgiving yet. And I was thinking about movies that are coming out, and I was thinking like the only genuinely Christmas movie that's being released, although I don't know if like Wicked has any Christmas scenes in it or anything. I haven't seen Wicked.
I don't know.
But is Red One, you know, the J.K. Simmons The Rock Santa Claus comedy movie kind of.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's a comedy. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's definitely a comedy.
Yeah, it's got to be a comedy.
But that's coming out, and I honestly I love J.K. Simmons. I love The Rock. I don't know if that movie looks like the plot is enough to like keep it interesting, but I don't want to judge it because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't think we can really judge it. But
I just want to know your thoughts on it.
Well, I just go off the movie Red about the retired
Retired Extremely Dangerous.
Yes,
Yeah. That's based on a comic book.
I liked that.
Is this
movie.
based on a comic book?
not as far as I know.
No,
maybe.
but I'm just saying like I don't think there's any correlation to it at all. I think there's some characters or like actors that are the same actors from Red. I think, right? Isn't that the same guy that's in that's supposed to be Santa Claus?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, no, she's right.
Yeah.
I think
J.K. Simmons was in Red.
Yeah.
I think so.
So
Okay.
I just think it's just a Santa Claus version of that movie.
Yeah.
Well, I think J.K. Simmons has always been considered kind of like a tough older guy. Like the characters he plays tend to be like kind of like these badass old guys. I don't know if part of that is because of Whiplash. Maybe people saw Whiplash and they were like, he can be even more
But
intense than we thought.
Didn't he also play J. Jonah Jameson in the
He did.
Spider-Man
He played J. Jonah
and everything?
Jameson. He's also played. He was in like some true he played like Milton Berle in a true Hollywood movie or show or something. I saw a clip of it. I haven't actually seen it. I just know it's a scene where like this young guy is like mocking him for like being like a part of television history and not being like important anymore. And then he like whips out his dick to like shut the guy down.
Okay.
Because apparently Milton Berle had like a huge wang.
Okay.
And apparently he was a saucy character.
Right.
But yeah, I mean J.K. Simmons he's always like he controls the room when he's in a movie or a show.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, he's a dynamic persona, which is that's his thing.
Well, even when he's playing silly or light characters or family characters, you still sense that power.
Oh yeah, he
like
was
in Juno. Yeah.
Juno, right? Yeah.
It's like this skillet can't be undid or whatever he says.
Yeah. Well, also you just reminded me of he was also in that movie about the two friends, that bromance.
The Two Friends.
Yeah, the movie with oh my God, Paul Rudd. He's
Oh, I Love You,
I
Man.
Love You,
Yeah,
Man.
he's
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's dad in
Yeah.
that, and Andy Samberg's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great in that.
Yeah.
He's like, you're my best friend, and Hank Mardukas. Yeah, he's friggin' great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, I still think my favorite role though is Whiplash, just because the amount of like
Oh, sure.
chutzpah to play a character who's like that much of a psychopath is like really impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah, it
sure
is.
that Whiplash was written. The screenplay was written by somebody from Rhode Island.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I
that's,
believe it.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
loved Whiplash. I love everybody in Whiplash. I know what's funny is after Whiplash came out, I know there were some people who actually like worked at what's the name of like the type of school he's at? It's like a music
yeah,
refectory or something.
Yeah.
It's not a refectory.
No, but it's
You know what I'm talking
I know
about,
what you
though.
mean. It's like an academy.
Yeah,
but
like
it's-
people who work at those places and people who are students at those places, after they saw that movie, were like, well, where was the joy though? You didn't see people celebrating the music, and it's like, I feel like the movie itself is a celebration of music.
Yeah, I mean,
because
that's why-
because
yeah.
they play a bunch of interesting music. The main character cares a lot about music.
Yeah.
like I agree, it's not supposed to be like a fun movie.
Uh-huh.
It's not like It's not like, oh, this is a fun movie about the perspective of a music school student. It's a movie about a kid who's trying to be like the best
Right.
and his insane teacher.
Right. And it's funny because if you think about it, it's kind of the anti-Fame. You know, the movie Fame,
Yeah.
the musical. You know, because in the musical Fame,
Yeah,
there's all these
that's
kind of-
the movie those people should watch.
Yeah, that has all these fantasy big musical sequences. But in, you know, obviously in Whiplash, the musical sequences are not fantasy. That you can't. They're not full of joy because it's hard work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the people doing that, you know, you have to get every note right.
I sing the body electric. I celebrate the me yet to come. I toast to my own reunion until I become one with the sun. Yeah, it's a very joyful film.
It is.
Have you seen Fame, Gwen?
No,
The
I
one
don't
from the
think so.
70s?
You should see it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, they
I
made
watch
like,
it.
didn't they make a show or like a new movie out of
Yeah, I
it?
think they did. Yeah, not as good from what I understand, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know. But obviously, you know, Whiplash is not a Christmas movie. I don't know about Red One. I mean, I might go see it. I might wait until it comes out on streaming. Right now, I'm anticipating Wicked and Moana 2, which I feel like
I
are...
think. Oh yeah, that's coming out next week. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited for either of those?
Probably more. So actually, I've been seeing a lot of good reviews from Wicked, which I wasn't expecting to see. I don't know. I've never seen Wicked. I know people love it. It has a huge fan base. So I think I'm excited to see Wicked. People are anticipating that the actress who plays Alphaba is going to get like the Oscar this year from it. So she'll be the youngest woman to get all of the awards. Like, what is it called?
Keep petting him.
What is that award called though? If you get all of them.
Oh,
Like the
Leo
Oscar
barks if you
and-
stop petting him.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like the goat or something.
Yeah, I
like
can't
that.
remember what it's called though.
Yeah.
There's 8 awards.
No. Like if you get like a Tony, an Oscar, Emmy,
Oh,
or whatever.
yeah.
Whatever that is called, she would.
Yeah, if
be
you
the,
run the...
Yeah, she'd be the youngest woman to get one, and like the youngest black woman, obviously, to get one as well. So that's interesting.
Who
Yeah.
did she play Alphaba in the play?
No, I don't think
That
so.
was somebody
No,
else?
that was Adia Menzel.
Yeah, Adina.
Adina, yeah.
So just so everybody knows, Leo usually will start barking unless you keep petting him.
I've been petting him.
Yeah, I know, but you can't ever stop. You have to understand. Leo expects pets forever. He's a little old man, and he must be touched. Which sounds kind of pervy if you take it out of context.
Yeah.
He's a little old man that must be touched.
Right.
No, but he just likes affection, as dogs do. Meanwhile, my dad's petting Wesley's butt.
Wesley.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited for Wicked too. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've never seen the play, so it'll be nice to, you know, I feel like going to see it will kind of be like going to see a Broadway show, which might be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen the play, but I am fond of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I've listened to that, and also I think that the story is an interesting story, and that's one thing that I I'm not surprised that the reviews were good because of the movie, because I just feel like if they did it right, it has the potential to be really, a really great story.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I really like Christian Chenoweth's performance of the songs from the play.
yeah, I do too.
And I think that Ariana Grande is actually a pretty good choice
Oh, yeah.
for the on-screen Glenda, because she's supposed to be like kind of like, I don't know, like a Barbie doll, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like like the popular girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of works.
And I did
Also,
find-
Ariana Grande is a good singer.
Yeah, she's a great singer, and they did sing live during their acting, so it wasn't like pre-recorded. So they had some like chances to like improvise like how they would sing the song, which is cool. And I've
Yeah.
heard made some really good scenes.
Interesting.
Am I too far away from the microphone?
Well, I look forward to seeing it, and I would love to know that they did it well.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm pretty excited for Wicked. I know you're not as thrilled for Moana 2. And I gotta
Well, I
say,
mean-
I definitely liked Moana. I know there's an avid fan base out
Oh,
there.
I liked Moana. Yeah.
I know I teach in school, and I know a lot of the kids are excited for Moana 2. I liked Moana. I thought it was a little slow sometimes.
The original one? Yeah.
Yeah, the first Moana.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, did you feel the same way that I did? That maybe it was a little slow in parts?
Maybe. I mean, you know me. I tend to like things that are fairly dark also, and I thought it was a little bit light. You know, there was no real dark side to it, but you know, it was a Disney cartoon, and oftentimes
It wasn't dark that Mother Earth had been corrupted by losing her heart?
Well, I guess so. I mean, it seemed a little abstract.
Clearly, you don't know what darkness is. No, I agree. It was a little light, especially as far as like, it's a Disney movie, so like, you know, when a Disney movie's really good, there's definitely like a dark edge on it.
Yeah, I mean, like I compare it to something like, what's the one about the kid in Mexico?
Coco.
Oh, Coco. Coco's amazing.
Yeah, like that one I liked more because it obviously has a much darker side to it.
It's funny to me because we're talking about darkness in Disney movies. I'm just thinking like, I recently watched the first season of the Seth MacFarlane's Ted TV show.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in it where like one of the characters is trying to convince Wesley bumped the table. There's a scene in it where a character's trying to convince Ted to watch this old Disney movie that they say is scary. And Ted's like doesn't believe it because it's a Disney movie. He's like, you know, like I liked Aladdin too, but I wasn't like, oh no, fucking Jafar. And I just like, I feel like I want to. They're really bumping the table now, aren't they? They're bumping their big noses on the table. But I was just like, that's how I want to like think about Aladdin from now on. It's just in a Boston accent. Oh no, fucking Jafar. Like. The movie they were talking about was, I forget. It was some old Disney movie that apparently was like shocking or creepy.
So did he get scared by that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was called like A Whisper in the Darkness or something. I don't know. Or The Seeker in the... I don't remember what it was called.
Huh.
It has a big puppet in the end. What do you want from me? Speaking of puppets, The Dark Crystal just popped up on one of the streaming services for free recently, and I've never seen that movie. And a lot of people talk about it, and I've been tempted to watch it just to like be able to have an opinion on it.
Well, I mean, from a design point of view, I think it's awesome. I just never really got caught up in the story because it's a puppet movie, and I mean, at least for me,
Do the puppets bother you, or is the fantasy what bothers you?
I have a hard
Because the puppets are pretty high quality.
They are. The puppets are, like I said, the design, the puppets, everything, all that. I mean, Jim Henson's work is incredible. I think that I have a hard time suspending my disbelief when I'm just watching a field of puppets.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really.
To some extent, I agree with you because I feel like and I know we're definitely going to have pushback on this from people that don't agree, but as if we have that much of an audience.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way about the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is to say, it doesn't feel fully immersive.
Yeah.
I don't like puppets or claymation that much, so the Muppets I never really liked. The Dark Crystal scared me as a child. I was not a fan of it. Yeah.
But this was because puppets scared you?
Yeah, because I saw a live action Pinocchio when I was a kid, and I don't remember who the director who made the movie, but it scarred me like to see the puppet of Pinocchio, and like it just freaked me out so bad. So every puppet movie I've ever seen just scares me.
Have you seen Labyrinth?
Yes, I've seen parts of that one, yeah.
You remind me of the Babe with the power of voodoo. Hoodoo, you do what? Remind me of the Babe.
But then again, I don't watch it because I don't like them. I don't like puppet movies or claymation movies.
I just don't like that movie because it's not a good musical.
Yeah.
Like the song, like I know a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine. I think that movie has good qualities, but like the songs in it, it's written by David Bowie. I love David Bowie's work.
Yeah, me too.
And the songs in that movie make like no sense to the plot, and most of them like you can't even understand what they're saying. Mm-hmm. I just don't really understand what the thinking was behind those songs.
Yeah.
Like it's a fantasy movie. Leo, Jesus.
He's not because Wesley's getting pets now.
Just relax, buddy. We all love you. We're all here. We're all here for you. Nope, don't walk over here. You're gonna bump the table again. Anyway, but you'd hope that if David Bowie did a musical, it'd be like, something like Ziggy Stardust, something like where the songs are like all over the place and crazy,
Yep.
interesting. They weave a tapestry of a story.
Yeah, I somehow don't think that David Bowie ever cracked the musical code. Like even though he's a great singer, his songs should have been. Somebody could adapt his songs to a musical now. just write a musical for his songs.
Like an ABBA, like Mamma Mia.
Kind of, yeah. But
Like Mamma Mia, no.
I might have to put the dogs outside.
David Bowie didn't write the songs for Mamma Mia.
No. I'm
she's
saying somebody should write a musical for David Bowie songs.
Like Mamma Mia?
Like they did for ABBA.
In that concept, the way that they did Mamma Mia for the ABBA songs. They picked some good songs.
I know exactly what you're saying. I just don't think it should be anything like Mamma Mia.
No,
it's the concept.
Like not the same storyline.
Yeah, no, not.
I don't think it should be the same story. I know exactly. I know what you're talking about.
I don't
Jesus
know
Christ,
what
you
you're
think I'm an
talking
idiot?
about. Alright, I'm gonna put the dogs outside.
Okay, go put the dogs outside.
Who put the dogs out? Woof, woof, woof.
Go pee, boys.
Come on, guys, let's go.
Because we want a moderate amount of barking for the podcast, but this is ridiculous.
Chaos. Oh my god.
That's
There
a
they
relief. Now that they're not laying on top of us.
Yeah. Leo doesn't want to go.
This is quickly turning from the Christmas podcast into the dog podcast. Yeah, because Leo wants more love, and I will give it to him. He knows I'm weak.
Leo's not leaving. Leo's refused to leave.
Leo's opinion is going to be on this podcast.
That's right.
He's right up at microphone level. Here, Leo. Say, what are your favorite Christmas movies?
You can hear Leo's ferocious breathing.
Those are his favorite Christmas movies. Breathing like he's having a heart attack.
It's like a hyperventilating Darth Vader.
He really doesn't want to go outside.
Yeah, and he weighs like 45 pounds.
He's massive.
He's a heavy dog. So, this Christmas, how does Christmas feel to you?
Christmas?
I know it's been complicated for you.
Yeah, it's hard to truly appreciate it. But we're doing the
Growing
best we
up, you
can.
always made it a living hell for me.
I'm sorry. Is that true?
No, not really.
Oh, good.
But I could tell there was always like an air of like, I don't know, sadness.
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah, I was often not the happiest of campers.
Yeah, my father was raised by an abusive mother, so you have to understand that it's a
I don't know.
It's a complicated
abusive. She was
emotionally abusive.
complicated person.
She was emotionally abusive. She wasn't physically abusive. She didn't beat him.
Yeah.
She just was a person who struggled with mental illness, and he got moved around a lot in his childhood, and he dealt with a lot of like embarrassment and weird situations.
Yeah, but, there was
and a lot of like, getting shunned from like family and other people.
Well, and living in poverty and so forth. I mean, I remember once we got our we had no Christmas tree, so we went to a Christmas tree lot after it had sold its last tree on Christmas, and so it was just an empty lot. But we were walking on this empty lot, and there was this one crushed little tree that had been left there, amidst all the pine needles.
Yeah.
And we took this crushed little tree home and fluffed it out, and used it as our Christmas tree.
It was like a Charlie Brown
It was
Christmas.
kind of like a Charlie Brown Christmas, yeah, except in real life.
My dad had the Charlie Brown Christmas experience with the little tree.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of cute, though.
Yeah.
It's a good memory.
Yeah. Well, and
Is it a good memory?
Well, I mean, as good as my Christmas memories of childhood get, I would say.
Well,
Do you have any dark Christmas memories, Gwen? We can call this episode Christmas and Child Abuse.
like as a child?
Yeah.
Not even dark. I don't know.
Nothing
That's
dark? Every Christmas was perfect.
No, not perfect, but nothing like depressing or sad. Like when you're a kid, anything can seem like super out there and crazy. Like I remember one Christmas I got a violin, and the Christmas morning I opened my violin, and my mom was like, "Oh, here, let me help you tune the violin," and she snapped the strings, and I got really sad. That was like the saddest I've been, but that's like the most of it. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I had a pretty positive childhood as far as Christmas experiences go. Like I said, I think the most distressing thing to me was just knowing that my father had complicated feelings about Christmas. But overall, I mean, that's just because children are super intuitive,
Yeah.
And
Well, seeing
I
your
think
father sitting in a corner with his bottle of liquor.
Yes, that's what it was like. You were just screaming drunkenly at the Christmas tree in the middle of the night. You won't take my son from me.
I do have a funny Christmas story about my grandmother, though.
Go right ahead.
There was one time she was driving to visit us on Christmas Eve, and she got in super, super late. So we were all asleep while the kids were asleep, and we left a plate of cookies out for Santa. And my grandma, she ate the cookies, and she ate them, but we were asleep, so we didn't really know.
Right.
And the next morning, we're like, "Oh, Santa ate the cookies! Santa ate the cookies!" And my grandma's just like, oh, those weren't for me? I ate those last night. And I'm like, the thing that bothers me about that is, like, my grandmother's obviously, like, kind of kooky. But also, she didn't have to tell us she ate them. She could have just let it
She
us
coulda
believe
lied,
Santa,
yeah.
Left
you
the
know?
mystery.
Yeah.
She's not.
So
She's not the.
that really upset me, though, because I was
my
like,
God.
Santa didn't get our cookies. I was mad.
I feel like for a long time when I was a kid and we'd put out cookies, I feel like I was a really cocky little kid and a really cocky teenager too. But like when I was a kid, I think secretly in my heart I believed in Santa, but like I also, Dad, you can't move.
I know. I realize that.
You can't relax. You must just sit on the edge of the chair in violent discomfort.
Yes, it's all right.
But I think my most what was I saying?
That you believed in Santa?
Oh yeah, I think I believed in Santa in my heart, but I was always trying to like poke and prod my parents to tell me that Santa wasn't real for some reason because I was like just a cocky little shit, and I there were times where like I think like I knew like we'd put out cookies and then they'd be partially eaten in the morning and I'd be like, you guys ate them, didn't you?
Yeah, you were the skeptic.
And then, of course, like, I demanded that you tell me whether or not Santa was real, and you told me it wasn't real, and I, like, sobbed for, like, 2 hours.
I know. I always feel bad that
I just...
we caved.
No, it's like, I don't know what I was thinking was going to happen. I feel like little kids are, like, they just make ridiculous decisions and don't understand, like, what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
I think kids just want to seem tougher than they are a lot. I remember one of my cousins was like that. Where like when she was young, we tried to watch. I told her that the what was that movie, like the 70s Christmas Carol, the animated Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah, the good one, the dark one.
Do you know who made that?
It was. I think the guy's name is Richard Price, but the main thing is the animation's done by the guy who did a lot of those Roadrunner cartoons and Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Yeah, what's his name?
Chuck Jones.
Chuck Jones, yeah. So there was a 70s Chuck Jones Christmas Carol. I think you can find it on YouTube if you're interested. That has by far, I think, the scariest version of Marley's Ghost of any Christmas Carol. And I had seen it several times already, and like I knew I was scared by it as a kid. And I told my cousin, like, it's gonna be scary, and she was like, I won't be scared. And then like she acted tough in front of me, but then apparently like had like a really rough night afterward after she watched it. So kids will like put up a good face and then like, but I mean, isn't that kind of the same for all of us?
Of course.
Like, you know, it's easy to feel strong when you feel safe. When you don't feel safe, you know, sometimes it's creepy. You know, I know plenty of adults who still feel weirded out walking around in their house in the dark, which I think is weird, but it happens.
Well, I feel like sometimes weird walking around by myself in the house, not for like ghost wise or like anything like that, but like intruder wise. I'm like, I don't know. I still get on edge a little bit being on my own.
Yeah. No, me too. Well, especially if I'm like walking around naked. Although sometimes I'm kind of.
You have to be careful of that because my family just walks into the house sometimes.
No. I know. But like, what I think I like about the idea of that is have you seen Eastern Promises?
No.
This movie where Viggo Mortensen plays like a Russian gangster, and he gets in a knife fight with a guy in like a sauna while he's naked.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of badass. Like, if you can fend off a guy with a knife while you're naked, what can't you do?
Right. No, it's especially if you're in like a hard marble sauna where.
Yeah, I know, where you're like slamming against the floor naked.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm afraid to like go to the YMCA without like shower shoes on.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk around on the water on the floor. My automatic assumption is it's just either toilet backflow or pee.
Yeah, well, me too.
I just think of like fungus, foot fungus.
Yeah,
Foot
it's better
fungus.
to assume that.
Yeah, you don't want to get one of those like old people toe funguses where it's like a permanent claw.
Yeah, I always bring a spray bottle full of alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, and then
You clean the entire locker room
yes,
with it.
no, I spray my feet and my shoes before I put them on at the end to kill whatever's on me.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't do that enough. I mean, the other day I actually walked into a public bathroom and there was like a puddle of urine under a urinal.
Oh yeah.
And I tried not to track it into the house, but it's like hard, man.
Yeah,
Gross.
definitely have a spray
Nothing
bottle
more
of
Christmassy
alcohol.
than that.
That's true.
Actually, probably true. There's probably a lot of people who spend Christmas at the bar, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just getting drunk and pissing all over the bathroom and stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, Christmas, as we've said, Christmas has two sides. You know, it has the the charming side, well, but that's about love and family, and then it has like the people who feel desperate and alone, like, which actually brings me to a Christmas movie I really love, which is Bad Santa.
Yeah.
Which has Billy Bob Thornton kind of playing a character like that, like a melancholy character who kind of learns the value of, like, you know, the good side of Christmas by the end of the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the best Christmas movies have this sort of dark side. I mean, even like Miracle on 34th Street, you know, is a kind of a movie about a little girl who's very jaded and has kind of lost her faith. And
Well, she's an adult now in the movie.
no, I'm talking about. The
Oh, you
little
mean her daughter?
Yeah, the daughter.
Yeah. My
Natalie
bad.
Wood.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Oh, that's Natalie Wood?
Yeah, that's Natalie Wood
wow.
in that. Yeah.
And Natalie Wood and her mother in the movie. Well, not her real mother, but her
but
mother in the movie.
The actress, yeah.
Yeah, every time I think of Miracle on 34th Street now, I just think about the joke from Rick and Morty where Rick gives everyone like bespoke holiday gifts, and what he gives to Jerry is like an extra dimensional, like 2 hours longer version of Miracle on 34th Street. And Jerry's just like, isn't that what we always said? The only bad thing about this movie was that it wasn't longer. And they like start watching the movie. It's just some guy walking down the street like, oh, there it is, 32nd Street. Oh, there's 31st Street. Like, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, I suspect that the guys who had that joke are not fond of that movie. But,
I guess so. I think it's a pretty good movie.
I
just
love
think
that
I just think they were trying to be funny.
yeah.
Because obviously, you know, I don't think any famous Christmas movies would benefit from being longer.
Yeah. No, they're usually just as long as
Sometimes
they
I
should
think
be.
they're too long. Like,
Like what?
I don't know. I think that, like, I know people love the movie Elf, and I know you like Elf, but I sometimes think it's a little bit.
Well, I
too
think
long.
I don't love Elf. I like Elf. I think Elf is fun for what it is. If you just want to like basically watch a movie that's like 2 hours of like Will Ferrell being like a goofy idiot.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like almost arguably you could say that's most of his comedy career.
Yeah.
But which is not to say I don't like Will Ferrell. I do. But like I like Elf because I think it's fun. But I agree with you that it's a little thin and it's a little slow.
Yeah, it's too slow. If it was a little bit faster paced, I could get it could get away with the length of it, but I think it's I get bored of it.
Yeah, I've only seen
love
it once, and I
Yeah.
can't say I remember it tremendously well.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just think it's
all
kind of
right.
fun.
Yeah, I think I remember having I don't remember having a bad feeling about it. It just wasn't one of my favorite Christmas films.
You know what I did see this morning on the internet is that people just realized, I don't know if it's like my generation, like kids growing up and like realizing what this is, that the Grinch universe, that in one of the still frames there's a brothel, like a Whoville brothel in the Grinch, and then they have like the key party, and like people didn't, like when you're a kid you didn't know what a key party was.
Oh, the Who's banging each other? Yeah.
So now that we're like adults and we know, we're like, what the heck were we watching as children? Like the key party, the brothel, like a bunch of like undertones of like weird.
key
Is
party
this
is
the
where a
Jim-
bunch of adults
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Is this the Jim Carrey?
Yeah, the
movie?
Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay,
the
see, I've
Grinch,
never
yeah.
even seen that.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it
yeah.
sort of makes sense though, because like of that like filmmaking generation of people, like because I'm thinking about like Beetlejuice has the demon brothel that in the mini Beetlejuice like creates a goofy little demon brothel. Do you
Yeah.
remember on the little sculpture that that Alec Baldwin has made?
Yeah, the little tabletop.
So like I feel like there being a brothel in random places is sort of like a 90s comedy trope.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Like
funny
weird
because,
little adult like saucy jokes, prurient jokes mixed in.
It just seems kind of surprising that they would put that into these things, which are essentially children's movies.
I feel like they did a lot of that though with those type of like for example, The Cat in the Hat is another movie that's very similar to that.
Yeah.
You know, like led by one particular comedian, you know, with a lot of like over the top makeup, a lot of like really lowbrow humor.
Right.
But like The Cat in the Hat also has like, because isn't the mom like or somebody's boss is like trying to bang the kid's mom or something.
But again, you're talking about the live action version.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
the
I
cartoons are fun.
mean, I haven't seen those just because I
My
love
point
the
is
original
those
cartoons.
live action Disney versions had some dirty jokes in them.
Yeah.
And I think the intention was for those jokes to be for the adult audience, but like the problem is those movies are fundamentally flawed.
Yeah.
So like, and I don't want to, shit on anybody who loves those movies. I mean, they're fine. I just personally, I don't know. Like, I really like the animated Grinch better, and I
Yeah.
really like, I guess the book, The Cat in the Hat, better.
Yeah, the book is great, and it could have been made into a perfectly good animated movie, or if they'd just done it that, or even live action.
Do you think Mike Myers was the right choice?
No.
Have you seen the new animated Grinch that they did with like Benedict
Oh,
Cumberbatch?
the CGI one?
Yeah.
No.
I have not seen that one either,
No.
but I don't know why they would make another Grinch story. I think it's, I don't know.
As long as they eliminated that "Where Are You Christmas" song
Yeah.
that Cindy Lou Who sings, I'm good.
Yeah.
Where are you Christmas? Ugh.
Yeah.
What?
Christmas stuff.
I think we have to pause this for a second.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no. We can't pause it
No.
Why?
because
Why?
then I'll have to edit that pause out later.
Well,
Just-
for one thing, I have to move because I'm cramping here. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like,
Here, I can pause the do you want
And we're back because we had to take a break
yes,
because my dad was having back pain during the Christmas special.
that's right. My
So-
chronic arthritis got in the way of Christmas.
So he's just going to be laying in the chair now screaming into the mic. And hopefully we can still pick it up.
It'll work. God damn it.
It'll work. What were we talking about? The Grinch?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Grinch.
or the Grinch. But we can move
Christ.
on from the Grinch because I don't have anything more to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you wanted to talk about the Polar Express, which was
Yeah.
always a beloved book of mine growing up as a child, but I have mixed feelings about the creepy, uncanny valley, multiple faces of Tom Hanks in that movie.
Well, he did voice all of them, didn't he?
Yes, he was all of the characters, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't creepy. I think the animation was a little bit, I don't know, the motion capture didn't really work in that movie like the way it did in a movie like Beowulf or something.
Well, I mean, what's funny is that Beowulf, I believe, and that movie were both directed by Robert Zemeckis.
And yet Beowulf worked and that movie
It
didn't.
just cut out.
It did?
No, it's back now.
Is
Okay. All right.
Anyway, sorry, back to talking about Beowulf.
Yeah, and I was just saying that Robert Zemeckis directed Beowulf and The Polar Express, and I think there was a learning curve there where his animators gradually. Well, but you're saying you thought Polar Express. Wait, Beowulf came after Polar Express.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was saying Beowulf was better than Polar
Yeah,
Express
so
as far
they-
as motion capture went.
Yeah, so there was a learning curve, and I think that.
But even Beowulf wasn't perfect.
No, it wasn't. But I know that you and I both like the new Jim Carrey Christmas Carol.
Yes, that
and
was
that
great.
is also directed by Robert Zemeckis, and I think that that was the fulfillment of the animators. I think that the motion capture was the best in that.
Yeah.
Also, the story was the best in that. I mean, I'm a real fan of that Christmas Carol just because it's so incredibly dark.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe for some people it may be it's hard for kids to watch that because there's moments that are upsetting, like when the ghost of Christmas.
It's a dark movie.
Yeah, it's a very dark movie, but I like that, and it's meant to be dark. It's a ghost story, so I'm always surprised if people are like upset because it's so dark. It's like, well, what do you expect? The guy sees a bunch of ghosts.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean,
one of my favorite movies. Christmas movies is that one. Yeah.
Is it that one? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one.
well, you know how I feel like Charles Dickens, even like now, is ahead of his time.
Yeah.
As far as like I mean, you would think it'd be more apropos for our culture now than ever, but obviously we have a lot of complicated feelings going on in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to compare that to the one we were talking about, the 70s animated one, I feel like the 70s animated one has the scariest and the best. I want to say Bob Cratchit, but that's not right.
You're talking about the Chuck Jones.
The Chuck Jones has the best Marley, but the Robert Zemeckis Jim Carrey one has the best Ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah.
With
I
that little
agree.
flickering flame guy, because it's like equally funny and disturbing in the same measure.
Absolutely, and in fact, I feel like the whole movie kind of has that vibe of being sort of, funny and beautiful, and also creepy, and like-
juicy.
and sort of nightmarish in a weird
Yeah.
way. Like
Oh, that
even-
movie is super nightmarish. Yeah.
I mean, even when when Scrooge walks into the room, the glimmering Christmas room of the Ghost of Christmas Present, who's that big Santa Claus looking guy. I feel like even though that's beautiful, it's a beautiful environment, there's still something creepy about it.
Yeah.
It's unsettling.
Well, and also that brings a good point about Jim Carrey plays a lot of the characters in that version of that movie.
Yeah.
Just like Tom Hanks plays a lot of characters in the Polar Express.
Right.
In Beowulf, was there anybody that played multiple characters, or was it all different actors?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not super familiar with. I mean, I've only seen that Beowulf once many years ago.
I wonder if the guy that played Beowulf also played like Grendel or something.
Well, actually, Grendel was played by the. It's funny because Robert Zemeckis also made Back to the Future, and Crispin Glover was in Back to the Future, and I think Crispin Glover also played Grendel in Beowulf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that Gary Oldman played Bob Cratchit in the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol, and I think he was great for that. Gary Oldman is great for everything, though.
Oh, he is.
I don't think I've seen a role that Gary Oldman has done that I don't like.
No.
I mean, because we were just, on our Halloween episode, we talked about Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's great in that.
Yeah.
He's great in The Fifth Element. He's great in Harry Potter. What does he do that's not amazing?
Yeah, I don't know why I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about Fifth Element lately, and this one little bit of dialogue from the Fifth Element always pops into my head, and it's when Gary Oldman's talking to Ian Holm. Ian Holm plays this priest, and Ian Holm says, and obviously, I've just lost his name. Gary
Oldman
is playing this evil character named Zorg. Who's just this, very, very evil industrialist guy.
Yeah, he's like, we've got to get the guns.
Yeah.
We've got to get them. Don't you understand?
Right. And Ian Holmes says to him, "You're a monster, Zorg." And Gary Oldman says, "I know."
Yeah, Gary Oldman's the absolute best. But back to the Christmas Carol, the Robert Zemeckis Christmas Carol, definitely one of, if not my favorite rendition of that story.
It is, and not only that, it's sort of, I feel like, is very heavily informed by that cartoon that we like so much, that Chuck Jones cartoon, because they both have a very similar vibe. But obviously the Zemeckis one is, it's a whole, it's
a much more ambitious project.
Yeah, exactly, because the cartoon's only like 20 minutes long, whereas this movie it's
like 3 hours long.
It's
yeah.
huge.
It's wild.
But it somehow sustains it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun. Do you have any favorites about that movie, or?
Yeah, so actually the part that creeped me out the most, speaking of like nightmarish parts, was when that big Santa turned into like that weird like kind of goblin-y skeleton guy.
Oh, when he dies at the end?
Yeah, and he like shows those twins under his cloak, like greed or something like that. I think they're supposed to be greed and
it's
ignorance and
want.
Yeah, that part was definitely the creepiest. But I also remember like really.
Are there no prisons?
Yes. Yeah.
Are there no workhouses? Yeah.
Yeah. That's one that sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Cindy's nieces saw that movie, and I think they were both and Nancy too, I think, watched it with them. Mm-hmm. And I think they were all very upset by that scene.
Yeah, that scene was definitely the most upsetting, I think.
It's a distressing movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But a beautiful one.
Or like when he's chased by the carriage and the horse. Like I think
the ghost of Christmas Future.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Well, I mean, that's another thing that's great about that movie is because it was designed for like IMAX 3D. Yeah. So the whole movie is like, it has a really intense sense of motion.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of movies that when IMAX 3D was like first super popular, there were a lot of movies that were released there that didn't really work for like big scale movement 3D kind of movies, and that is one of the ones that like really utilized it well.
Oh, it did. I felt very lucky that we were able to see it in an IMAX 3D
it was almost like a universal ride to watch that movie like in IMAX 3D. It was like, like you really felt like you were moving,
kind of flying along.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point. I don't know why. I'm surprised Disney doesn't have like a Christmas Carol themed ride for Christmas time.
They absolutely should.
Because like they changed the Haunted Mansion to Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Robert Zemeckis' Christmas Carol, the ride.
Exactly.
People would. I think. Well, I don't know if people would, but I would pay for that.
Absolutely, and it does feel like the movie was designed to be a ride.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ride-like, things that happen in that movie.
Last time I remember any kind of ride like that was when I was a kid at Universal and we were on the Back to the Future ride. Mm-hmm. But that was like small beans comparatively.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember since then I've like rewatched like the video they show you for that ride, and because it was made in like the early 90s or something.
Like that,
and it's like very low quality. It's very primitive. At the time though, it felt awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're in this big moving thing, you're chasing the DeLorean, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've watched videos of the Star Wars ride that they have, and it looks amazing. And I keep hearing about how the ride's not doing well.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just empty a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really sad because just on the, you know, if you watch on YouTube or whatever what that ride is like, it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I think the problem with that ride and the emptiness is that it's the wait times, or like the ride keeps shutting down and breaking down, so it's like having issues with like that, like working properly.
I could see that.
Yeah. Speaking of
It's
Star
funny.
Wars.
Oh, I was actually about to go off on that too.
Okay.
No. What did you
I'll
want to
just
say?
say real quickly.
No, go ahead.
Star Wars to me actually is a Christmas movie in my brain, because the very first time we got Star Wars, my mom got us the box set of all the Star Wars, and it was around Christmas time. We like binge watched all of them. So like in my brain, Star Wars is like the perfect Christmas like series.
That's. I could see that.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
actually came up with a Star Wars storyline that I would love them to do. I don't know if they're ever going to do anything.
Is it a
like
sequel to the Star Wars Christmas special?
It should be, but no, it's actually a Star Wars story that fits into Christmas, even though it's a different galaxy and so forth. So how can that happen,
Yeah.
right? But what I worked out was that I imagined that there should be a story where you would have the character of the woman from The Force Awakens.
Right?
Rey, yes. And she would essentially get into a relationship with one of the male characters. And I was thinking maybe like either Finn or the guy who plays the
Kylo Ren?
No, well, I suppose it could be.
Adam Driver?
I mean, she is sort of with him.
Ray,
At the
Yeah.
end.
I need you to join me.
But does he die?
I don't know.
That's what they say. He like
Oh,
his ghost is there.
it would have to be one of the characters who doesn't die. And I was thinking, you know, it'd either be that pilot guy or it'd be the guy Finn. But either way, essentially the evil empire would take over they'd destroy the rebellion and take over the whole galaxy. And so Rey and Finn or whoever would have to flee.
Yeah.
And so they would somehow steal this experimental ship that can take them out of the galaxy entirely and go to another galaxy. And so they do this, and as they're flying along, I guess Rey discovers she's pregnant. And so they get to this other galaxy, and they like find this desert planet that resembles the planet that Rey is from, you know. So they land in this planet, and as their ship is landing, these like 3 guys on camels witness it, you know, and think it's a star.
Yeah.
Oh, I see where you're
see
going.
where I'm
It's,
going with
it's like
this?
the whole that's
Yeah,
good. That's
exactly. But what I like about this idea,
It's like a final conclusion.
it's like a final conclusion, but also it explains the magical powers of Jesus.
Yeah.
He's like a Jedi.
Jesus is
right?
a Jedi.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it also explains something we've seen in every Star Wars movie, which is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
It's 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, it's literally a long time ago.
Yeah.
And in a galaxy far, far away.
That's
Yeah.
funny. So Rey would be like the Virgin Mary or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Yeah, I wonder if that sounds like an idea that's too good to not have been thought of before.
I know. I don't know.
I don't
But-
think I've heard of anything like that.
Well, maybe people are just afraid that if they
Yeah.
do something like that, like they'll be
Yeah.
religious people will be at their throats.
Maybe.
I mean, and God knows that like social media is just a bastion of angry religious people.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. That'd
Yeah.
be perfect for me.
That would be the Star Wars Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Star Wars is a religious epic.
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of which, it's actually funny we mentioned that because Gwen has seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but she's never seen The Life of Brian.
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking, I got to watch that with her because that's probably their best one.
Yeah, that's a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is a parody of a religious
Yeah.
epic, parody
Well,
of the Jesus
and
story.
I would also say Monty Python's Meaning of Life. You have to
Yeah,
see that too. That's
but
also
Life of Brian is a more complete.
It is.
Like Meaning of Life is like is a good like sketch movie, but my Life of Brian is like a good complete movie.
Yes, it has a story and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, I agree.
Also, I like. I mean, I don't want to sound sacrilegious here, but I like it when people joke about the more ridiculous elements of religion.
Sure, and the best thing about it is that they're not actually putting down religion. They're not putting down the ideas underpinning. They're not putting down Christ or anything like
No.
that. What they're putting down is the absurdity of human interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. They're more like making fun of the way people record things and think about things than they're making fun of actual religion.
Exactly.
They're not like telling stories from the Bible. It's like this
Right.
is like people's concept of the world.
Yeah.
Also, they don't necessarily ever say anything atheistic.
No.
I mean, in fact, there's a lot of like visual jokes where Terry Gilliam draws God, in a lot of Monty Python stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was watching an interview with one of the Monty Python guys. He was on some talk show many years ago, and he was debating with some bishop or something like that, and the bishop was trying to accuse him of being sacrilegious.
Yeah.
And he was saying, there's nothing sacrilegious. I mean, Jesus actually appears. You can see him in the distance.
Yeah.
In Life of
Yeah,
Brian.
exactly. So they're still saying, arguably, that movie is saying you should, we still believe that Jesus existed.
Yeah.
And did what people have said he did.
Right.
We're just saying, there might have been some other, stragglers along the side.
Yeah, and that there's a lot of problems with people's interpretation of what happened.
Yeah,
and
but
which anybody would agree, because look at how screwed up the world is.
I know, but a lot of people who are like, very religious, just I think see anything, even anything referential as like sacrilege.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous, obviously, because our culture has been so steeped in religion for so long that the idea that there's going to be no references to religion in art is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because that's most of what art is at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I don't know.
And also, if you go, for the past 2,000 years, we've lived in the Western world has been living in a very, very oppressive, condition where they could not criticize whatever the prevailing religion was. I mean, it was not worth your life to attempt to criticize or analyze the nature of religion. And now we have the freedom to do it. And it doesn't mean we're not religious. It means we have the right to think about it. You know? And I think that there's nothing wrong with actually being able to laugh at how foolish human beings are.
No, absolutely. Well, and especially as we approach Christmas, which has been so, enshrined in religion.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot of complicated things about Christmas. We talk about like it not necessarily being historically the actual birthday of Jesus and, it being based on like
pagan holiday.
pagan holidays like the winter solstice and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to think about this time of year.
It's funny because for me, I don't think of Christmas as religious at all.
Well, neither do I.
No, me neither.
But that's what I'm saying is like, there's a lot of people that don't think of Christmas as religious and who still celebrate Christmas. Because honestly, I think people just need an excuse to like celebrate something and to rest.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and also the values of Christmas, which I've always liked, are
Love,
generosity,
family.
love, family. I mean, these things are good things. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes. Although it's because obviously Christmas is also super commercial.
Yeah. And that's the part of it I never liked.
But that's what we've been trying to break away from
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Like because I know we've talked about like, we love each other. We're a family. We can give each other gifts anytime we want. Why just do stuff like that on Christmas?
Right.
And I've also wanted to do more like charity work and more like we've talked about like going to soup kitchens and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the spirit of capitalism and America, that especially given the new political situation, what do you want to get me as a gift?
A new car. No, it's not happening.
That sounds like not a good gift.
No, that just means you
Do I have to
like
pay the
a
taxes on it? Do I have to add it to my insurance? That's going to make my insurance rate go up like $200 a month.
I never understood why people gave gifts like cars as gifts because it just seems like a huge hassle.
I agree.
I think the best gift I ever gave you was like a big jar of homemade mayonnaise.
Yeah, that was a good gift, actually. Yeah. And,
That's all you need.
Kimchi.
Yeah, you should just give people food on Christmas because
Yeah.
at least that way it's like something they can enjoy and then it's gone.
I believe
It's not
in
like
that.
like an elf on the shelf or something that has to sit around for the next 16 years.
Well, I'm
Right.
gonna make a box of cookies for everybody for Christmas.
See, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah.
Well, we also talked about handmade soaps and
yeah.
various other things.
Well, or experiences, like
Yeah.
to take a trip to, Boston, or take somebody to the movies and dinner,
Yeah.
or whatever.
What should I give you, Glenn?
Oh, I have no idea.
The D? No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
God, no. Rude.
Yeah, you're right. My dad's right here.
Oh my gosh, my eyes are.
He doesn't know anything about the nature of love and procreation.
That's true. I'm completely innocent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
that's-
fact, I was a virgin
Immaculate
birth.
conception.
Not from God though, from some sort of redheaded entity,
Yeah.
and then Gingo was born. I slithered out like a snake.
Yeah.
Just a long. I've always been tall, so it was just a long white wormy baby. I was like,
Yeah, yeah. You're actually again causing me to. I recently watched some clips from this sequel to the movie Smile online, and you're evoking
the smile birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that as the holidays approach and as the new year is set to begin, we all just need to really consider what's important beyond the material, beyond the spiritual. And that is, your human beings next to you, the human beings who you hold dear to your heart. And I said something similar at the end of the Thanksgiving podcast,
Yes.
but it is important now more than ever. That and whatever variant of PlayStation and or iPhone is coming out next, because we need
To upgrade.
to keep, yes, we need to upgrade. I need to upgrade. Look at the equipment I'm working with. Visual podcast watchers. Do you see this? Send me money
That's right.
and I will produce
Have you started
a
a
better
Patreon?
version of this podcast. No, we haven't started a Patreon. We have like 3 subscribers on YouTube.
But this is a high-end camera we have.
That's true, but that's because you work
Yeah.
with cameras and stuff and you borrowed it. Oh no, your workplace isn't going to get mad about that, are they?
No.
Okay, I just didn't know if I could say that, if I should say that.
It's going to be used for
So,
podcast.
as it's the special Christmas podcast, although I suppose we could always do a part 2, Christmas in January. I think that's what I'll call the next podcast, Christmas Part 2, a Christmas in January. Because I feel like we haven't hit on everything you can talk about on Christmas.
No, it's true.
But since we're at the end of the hour now and we're going over,
And I'm
why
having an allergic reaction right now.
Oh no.
yes, Gwen has a cat and she's allergic to cats, and now she has 2 cats because of
Poor
my
thing.
cat.
I'm sorry.
But let's all say our final thoughts about this this Christmas show. Why don't you start, Gwen?
Oh my gosh. Do I have final thoughts?
Yeah.
No. You go. I want to know what your final thoughts are first. I need to
Dad?
know something.
Well, I could say that I'm very glad to have you two in my family, and
Okay, enough smarmy nonsense. What do you say something Christmassy? I don't know.
God bless us, everyone.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Perfect. You're both amazing. No, I'm kidding. You both are amazing.
It's you who's amazing.
Stop it. What are we doing here? I guess I'd like to say that December is the coldest month. Although weather's been all over the place this year, but I'd like to say that I hope this Christmas I get to finally meet God and ask him all the questions that I've been wanting to ask him.
Kind of sounds. Go ahead.
Don't say it that way.
I was gonna say it sounds like you're gonna kill yourself.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Yeah. I did have a dream last
Oh.
night that I went to a tropical hotel and saw a bunch of manta rays, but
I do
that has
have-
nothing to do with this. I just wanted to throw
I
that
just
in there.
thought of my last Christmas remarks. I have a fun little last story to tell about Christmas. So growing up, I grew up Catholic, and my mother was very much involved with the church and taught Sunday school and did all that jazz. And one Christmas, I was like 3 years old, I had pneumonia. And I was very, very sick. We went to midnight mass Christmas Eve, and the church was packed full of people. I was obviously inconsolable, crying, and a bunch of old ladies kicked my mom and us out of the church during Christmas mass because I was very sick. And my mom, that day, like, we never went back to church. She renounced the church. She was so devout to going to church and doing all this stuff throughout the whole week, throughout the whole year, that the people that just go to church on Christmas kicked us out. She was very pissed. She's like, they're fake Catholic, they're fake religion, it's fake, it's all fake. And I'm the reason my family does not celebrate religion.
Yikes.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. That is
Yeah.
a beautiful Christmas story.
Yeah.
Didn't you kind of have a similar weird Christmas church experience where your mom sang O Tannenbaum?
Yeah. I as a child, my mother rarely took me to church, but in this case, she had been working as a secretary for the pastor of this church, and she had sort of fallen for the guy, but he was married, okay? And so she gradually became embittered by the fact that this guy was like not leaving his wife for her or something. And so one day on Christmas, she took me to the church, and everybody was in there singing Christmas carols. And we all stood up and sang O Tannenbaum, O
Yeah.
Christmas Tree. as my mother was singing, the pastor was up there leading the organist or whatever, or the choir, and she started singing really loud. I mean, she was like really belting it out, like screaming over everyone else, and just getting all this attention. And like negative, because people didn't exactly know what the hell was going on, But she's trying to get the pastor to notice that she's out in the audience. And at one point, this old guy standing next to me leaned over to her and said, is that... No, here's the thing. They were singing in English. They were singing "Oh Christmas Tree." My mother was singing "Oh Tannenbaum" in German. Okay, so that was... And this old guy leaned over and said, "Is that German?" And my mother just ignored him and just kept going, you know? And I was, as a child, I was like probably 10 years old or something, and I was completely mortified. And afterwards, as we were walking out of the church, I said to my mother, "I'm never going to church again, and certainly not with you." And she pretended to be, like she didn't know what I was talking about. And she's like, "Why?" And I basically just left and went home.
So these are all stories of why people abandoned the church.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't raised with the church, so it wasn't natural for me to begin with. I can say that the closest thing I have to that kind of experience is once with a childhood friend of mine, I went to take communion at a Catholic church around Christmas. And I'm not baptized or anything. So if they had known, but like this was like a small group of people in a room. So the priest was like just walking to each person. So it would have been weird if I was like, "Sorry, not Catholic." And I just like backed up. Right. And I was a kid, so I didn't know.
Hissed.
So I just, exactly. So I just let it happen. So I guess like that's kind of, my sacrilegious story. Yeah. My sacrilegious story, the TLC drama. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I'm hey, why not? What a way to end, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Except we have one other way to end, which is that I'd like us all to sing the greatest Christmas song ever written together.
I'm not singing the Christmas song.
Come on, sing with me, Gwen. Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party romp, something like
I don't
that.
even know the lyrics of the song.
Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling.
Hey.
You can get a Santa. Sing with us, Gwen. Mental feeling when you hear voices singing, "Let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly."
I think that's about
All right. Have a great Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas.
And good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Mwah.